So the year is 2025 and every failed gaming YouTuber is now a videographer or photographer running their own media company. I'm guilty of doing this, and I'm also guilty of doing what other content creators out there do, holding on to hard drives, SSDs, SD cards, USBs, the lot. They're scattered with so many projects on, and I don't know which one is for what collaboration. But there is a solution, and UGREEN have happily sponsored this video by sending out their NAS system, which is the NAS Sync DXP4800 PLUS. Now this holds up to 4 hard drives and a limit of 112 terabytes of storage. And not only did they send that, the absolute legends hooked me up with hard drives as well for the NAS system. These are called NAS SATA drives, which I never even knew were a thing. So we have in total 16 terabytes, which is plenty to hold all of my content and more. But just put this in perspective, if you had 112 terabytes in this NAS system, you could hold up to 76,000 movies. That is insane. So I'm going to get it all set up because I've been dying to try out a NAS system for years, ever since I really found out about them, but the prices were crazy, where this one is a bit more in that budget friendly price range. And I'm thinking just the same as what you are now. I thought UGREEN only made docking stations or cables or switches for HDMI ports. No, oh no. Let's start off with going over the hard drives themselves. These are made by Western Digital, and like I said before, they are the 4 terabyte versions. So in total we have 16 terabytes. The model is the WD40EFPX. These SATAs are running at 6 gigabytes per second, and they are the WD Red Plus NAS hard drives. And they will beautifully be slotted into this NAS Sync DXP4800 PLUS. Now this thing is packing a punch. So this device actually has a powerful processor, which is the Intel 8505 5-core, running a frequency of 4.4 gigahertz with its own dedicated operating system, the UGOS Pro, and its SODIMM DDR5 memory. Now what this can actually hold is 4 2.5 inch or 3.5 inch SATA hard drives and 2 M.2 NVMe SSDs. There's also a few ports on this, so let's go over them. You've got the HDMI, which is up to 4K, your standard RJ45 Ethernet port, one USB 3.2 Gen 2, one Type-C USB 3.2 Gen 2, one USB 3.2 Gen 1 and 2 USB 2.0s. But then last but not least, you also have that nice SD card slot. It's compatible with Android, iOS, Windows and Mac, and it is a network attached storage system. So that's like a small rundown of this NAS system. Okay, hold on a second. It has been about 3 months since I started this video. As you can see, the office is actually completely changed around. But that gives me a better experience overall, so now I know the ins and outs of this NAS system and things that you should be doing when you first get it. That was a little rundown of the NAS system, but after 3 months of use, I can really go in depth with this now and just end this video with all the positives I've found about this, because technically, I haven't yet even found a negative about this system. So let's start off with that whole networking system, as it is not connected to your PC directly. It is connected through the Ethernet cable, and how you have to utilize this to be able to drag and drop from the NAS system to your PC is by using network drives or network sharing drives, whatever you want to call them. There is a couple of tutorials online on how to do that, so I'll let them explain it. But the basic fundamentals is basically you find the IP address of the NAS system, go into this PC on your PC, and then create a network sharing folder, connect it to the NAS system IP, and then you'll be able to see a list of the folders that you've made on the NAS system that you can then connect to your PC, and it is simply drag and drop. When I first started, it was putting on one USB to then put it on an SD card to then put it into the NAS system, and then if I wanted anything off the NAS system, I'd have to then put it back on an SD card or a USB or a hard drive, put it in PC. It was a whole shambles, where once I figured this out, everything has been smooth sailing from there on out. Next positive about this is being able to work anywhere on the go. Now, as you saw, I'm using them SATA drives, so I'm directly editing off of those SATA drives without any issues. That is 4K footage at 10-bit 422 color. So no issues at all. That's even dragging and dropping from the network folder into Premiere Pro. So it's not going into the NAS system and doing it all that way. It's directly from the NAS system itself. And it works an absolute charm. And obviously having that SD card slot on the front means workflow is super, super quick. Plug in the SD card, drag and drop all the stuff from that onto the NAS system. And then I'm free to edit anywhere from my phone, from my MacBook, from any laptop even, and even my PC. Again, the cool thing about the app is you can download and even upload files to the NAS system anywhere. As long as it is connected to your network or your Wi-Fi, it will still be running. So I will say for the last 3 months I've had this thing plugged in all times, It tells you your stats of your hard drives and everything, so you will always understand if there's something that needs fixing, you can fix it before you lose all your data. Unfortunately, I haven't set up a hard drive to be like a backlog of all the stuff on there, so if it does go kaput, everything is gone. Because when I went to go do it, it was probably like over 24 hours it was going to take do the whole backup drive, and then you've got to back it up every time you put something new on there. At the end of the day, if I lose it all, well, you know, tough luck. I have high hopes for this. Already within 3 months, I've not had a single hard drive crash. I've not had a single file get corrupted. I've not had anything remotely go wrong with this thing. Even when we had a power cut, turned it back on, everything was still there. Nothing had, you know, power surged or anything. This thing also does have AI built within it, so it is very smart when it comes to organization as well. So if you want to search for a certain topic or a certain video or a certain face, literally let you do that. So it's super quick when it comes down to you just need a clip. You can type in what clip you need and it'll find it and then put it up. Now let's actually go over the OS really quick. So that's the operating system that this thing has built within. So it is basically its own little PC. This is my normal desktop, and then we have down here the NAS system here. Over on this side, you've got files, control panel, storage, app center, logs, support, universal search, task manager, and sync and backup. Up here on the top right, you have your CPU, which mine is currently at 0.67% and RAM is at 30.03%. And then next to that, you've got your widgets. And as you can see here, my online duration has been 42 days because that was when we last had the power cut. So 42 days it's been active. It tells me the system's running normally. The CPU, the memory, and then obviously your up and down speeds. And then your volume status is basically how much is stored on each system. So volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 4 being my complete job, so that's got the most in there. And then again, your account activity, your LAN connection, and then your task manager. Your task manager is basically just going to tell you what files have been transferred and things like that. Next to that, your notification center, so all the apps that need to be updated, which I've got quite a few. Your storage service, which tells you basically about your, you know, if you've taken an SD card out without ejecting it, it can corrupt it, so be careful. And then obviously your system service about updates and things like that. And then next to that is your search bar, and then your profile, which allows you to do certain things like reboot the system, shut it down, and also the switch accounts, which is pretty good. So if you have someone else that works on your NAS system, because you can share files between networks, you can actually have them have a separate account, so it only gives them access to certain folders. So that's quite smart as well. Then the very top left, what you've got is return to desktop. So if you are on this, you can just click return to desktop and it drops it back down. And then you've got my apps. My apps basically allows you to see all the apps that you've got installed. If you've got in the app center, there's quite a few, to be fair. You've got virtual machine, text edit, music, home assistant, downloads, Firefox is even on it, photo security, theater, because this again basically can be a theater docking station if you want. I've actually added some new ones on here because they weren't on here when I first started doing this video, so that's quite cool that they're adding new ones here. There is also manual install, so I guess that you could technically get your own apps for NAS systems. But that is pretty much the whole OS system itself. Now, this is what I'm on about when I go into my own PC system. If I go to this PC, you can see these folders here. We've got currently working on finished products and collabs, Moza Racing content only, personal passion projects, 3Cs apparel, and then YouTube. These are all the same folders that are on this system right here. So all these folders here are exactly the same, and these folders are basically called a network location. So I'll quickly show you now. You just go to add new location and it will come up with this. You take the IP from the NAS system, you'll paste the IP from the NAS system into this box and then click browse, and it will allow you to see everything under that network IP. So all the folders that you need, and you can create more subfolders and things like that, and then have them on your main PC. So when you do go and open this, it will literally open up every single thing that you've got here. So this is how quick it is as well. Like, it's crazy quick. And then there you go, all of your folders, all your photos, whatever you're doing, you know, everything just loads up super quick. So if I want to go into all the videos, there's all the videos there for me. If I want to go back to a different project, let's say the Fun 60, let's go to images, boom, there's the images there for me. Like, it's super responsive for this not even having an M.2 SSD in there. Like, there's none in there. I do actually currently have two M.2s that I'm wanting to put in there to give it a bit more of a speed boost, but what I'm seeing right now, I don't think it needs it. It's super quick. If I want to go into a different folder as well, let's say YouTube, go into YouTube. We've got sound effects all here. So there's some sound effects there. You've got some audio tracks. So literally like loads of audio tracks that I've got downloaded. Photoshop documents, they're all there. Like, it's super responsive and super quick. I mean, all my finished projects, even that's how many I've done on this thing right now, and that's how fast it is. The only downside is obviously you can't see how much storage is on each. You do have to go into your storage on the actual NAS system. You can see all the hard drives and your external drives as well, how much is on there. Your overview basically is just telling you the CPU temperatures of each single hard drive, and then you can actually add other widgets as well. I've just added another widget. Here we go. This is the volume status. So I've got 1 terabyte used out of 3.5 there, 677 gigabytes out of 3.5 there, 219 gigabytes out of 3.5 there, and 1.7 terabytes out of 3.5 terabytes on that one. So that's how you can see all of that. Unfortunately, like I said, you can't see that on the actual PC itself. Even on the app, as soon as you go into it, and you can go into your share folders, let's go to the DC shoes, go to images, like that's how quick it is. It's just all there. I love it. I absolutely recommend this NAS system, or any NAS system for a matter of fact, from UGREEN, because they have different dividers. They've got one with 2 slots, one with 4 slots. I don't know how I worked without a NAS system. Do you know what I mean? Like how I used to work when it came to hard drives, SSDs, USBs, and just constantly plugging them in and plugging them out, changing them over, finding out which one needed what on, and it was just a shambles. The amount of labels I made to say this one needs this content, this one's for this content, like it was just brain frazzling. Where now my productivity level is just skyrocketed for how quick I can get something done. And like I say, over the 3 months of having it, not a single problem, touch wood, with this NAS system. It's elevated the way that I work so much, and like how quick I can get things turned around now because it's just instantly on there. And like I've got a holiday with the family coming up, going to the Lake District for 7 days. I can just take my laptop and work from the NAS system while it's on at home and I'm away 3-hour distance. I can still work, which is mind blowing to me, as long as there's obviously Wi-Fi or connection around the area. But yeah, that right there is a game changer, and I definitely recommend, if you haven't got a NAS system, or you are in the creative industry, or even if you're at school doing work and you need extra storage, a NAS system is definitely the way forward. And like I mentioned, I've always wanted a NAS system, but they've been stupidly high priced, where this one is in that reasonable sort of bracket, and I believe the same is with the hard drives as well. So I want to say a massive thank you to the UGREEN for sending this out. They haven't had any input on what I've said on this video. Like I said, it's taken me over 3 months to make it. They did email a couple of times saying, have you got the video? And I'm like, give me a couple more months. Yeah, I appreciate their patience as well with this coming out, and how chilled they've been about me taking my time with this. Like I say, they haven't had any impact in this video. This is all personal use over 3 months. I've been using this day in, day out. As you saw, it's been up for 42 days before the little bloody power cut came on. But before that, it was, as soon as I got it and plugged it in, it never went off. For that, I have to give it a 10 out of 10. I can't find anything wrong with it. And if you've got one and found something wrong with it, please let me know. Please let me know, because I feel like there's got to be something wrong with it. It's too good to be true, if that makes sense. There's no noise. I have no issues with connectivity. I have no issues with downloads, uploads, SD cards, USBs, USB-Cs. Anything on there I haven't got a problem with. So that's pretty much everything I can explain about this NAS system, everything I can go into detail about the operating system. If there is anything that you think I might have missed, please leave it in the comments below so I can create a follow-up video and go over some other pointers that you might want to see. I think that's everything I can say at the moment. For the last 3 months, I've been absolutely ecstatic with this, and I cannot fault it. So that is a 10 out of 10 for me. But other than that, remember all the good stuff, leaving a like, hitting subscribe and notification bell, because it helps this channel grow even further, which I appreciate massively. And as always, capture, create, captivate. I'll see you all in the next video.